There is a factory in New Jersey. It has one job. It takes one of the most illegal plants on earth, strips out the cocaine, and sells what's left to Coca-Cola. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a rumor. This is happening right now, with full permission from the US government, and it has been happening for over 100 years. This is the story of the world's most famous drink, and the drug that started it all. To understand Coca-Cola, you have to understand the man who made it. His name was John Pemberton, and by the time he invented Coke, he was desperate. Pemberton was a pharmacist from Georgia. He fought in the American Civil War, but near the end of the war, he was wounded badly. Doctors gave him morphine for the pain, and he never stopped needing it. And by the 1880s, Pemberton was addicted, broke, and getting older, and he needed to figure something out fast. So he started experimenting. He'd read about a new wonder drug that scientists in Europe were going crazy over. Something that could kill pain, kill fatigue, and kill depression. Something that could maybe replace morphine. That drug was cocaine. Before we go further, you need to understand what cocaine meant in the 1880s. It wasn't a street drug, it was medicine. Sigmund Freud wrote a paper calling it a miracle. He took it himself, he gave it to his friends. Doctors prescribed it for toothache, depression, hay fever, and fatigue. You could buy it at the pharmacy, you could buy it in wine. There was even a product called Vin Miriani, which was cocaine dissolved in red wine. That was so popular, the Pope endorsed it. The Pope endorsed cocaine wine. There were ads, certificates, and medals from the Vatican. This was normal. This was health culture in the 1800s. So Pemberton, trying to cure his own addiction, trying to make money, trying to do both at once, created a syrup. It had two main ingredients: coca leaves, the plant that cocaine comes from, and cola nuts, which contained caffeine. He called it the French wine coca. He marketed it as a cure for headaches, nerve trouble, and morphine addiction, which was darkly ironic given his own situation. It sold, but then Georgia introduced an alcohol prohibition, and Pemberton had a problem. His drink had wine in it, so he took the wine out and added carbonated water and sold it at a soda fountain in Atlanta. A customer tried it, said it was delicious, and on May the 8th, 1886, Coca-Cola was born. For the next 17 years, Coca-Cola contained real cocaine. Not a lot, estimates vary, somewhere between 4 and 9 milligrams per glass. But for context, a typical line of cocaine today is around 30 to 60 milligrams, so it wasn't a massive hit, and it was something, and the company leaned into it. Ads from that era called Coke the ideal brain tonic, a sovereign remedy for headaches. It was sold in pharmacies as medicine. Doctors recommended it, and people drank it every day. Pemberton himself never made much money from it. He had sold the rights before he died in 1888, broke and still addicted to morphine, but the men who bought it made a fortune. By the early 1900s, the mood in America was changing. People were getting nervous about cocaine, and the reason why, the real reason, is uncomfortable to talk about. There was a wave of racist propaganda in the American South, claiming that cocaine was making black men dangerous. Newspapers ran stories, fabricated, horrifying stories, about cocaine-crazed black men. Politicians used it to push for drug laws, and as those laws started coming, Coca-Cola had a decision to make. They were already facing criticism. Temperance campaigners, concerned parents. The head of the company at the time, Asa Candler, quietly began reducing the cocaine content, and by 1903, it was essentially gone. The company never made a big announcement. They just stopped putting it in and moved on. But here's where it gets really interesting. Coca-Cola still uses coca leaves, right now, today. Real coca leaves, the same plant that cocaine comes from, are in every can of Coke you've ever drunk. How is that legal? Well, it's because of one very specific deal. When the US government started cracking down on narcotics in the early 20th century, Coca-Cola had an army of lawyers, and they negotiated an exemption. An exemption that said, you can import coca leaves as long as you remove the cocaine first. That exemption still exists today. The DEA signs off on it every year. So how does it actually work? Well, there is one company in the US, one, that is legally allowed to import raw coca leaves. It's called the Stepan Company. It's based in Maywood, New Jersey. It's not famous, it doesn't advertise, but is arguably one of the most important factories in the history of American food. Every year, hundreds of tons of coca leaves arrive there from Peru and Bolivia, the two countries that legally grow them. The leaves are soaked, processed, and separated. What comes out is two things. One, a non-narcotic extract, the stuff that gives Coke part of its flavour, that eventually goes to Coca-Cola. Two, pure cocaine alkaloid, and that cocaine doesn't get destroyed, it gets sold to pharmaceutical companies, where it becomes a legal anesthetic used by dentists and surgeons right now, today, in hospitals across the country. So to recap, Coca-Cola imports cocaine plants, removes the cocaine, uses the rest for your drink, and then sells the cocaine to hospitals. And they've been doing this, legally, openly, with the government permission for over 100 years. Now, here's a question nobody really asks. If Coca-Cola removed the cocaine in 1903, why do they still use coca leaves at all? They've had over a century to reformulate. They have billions of dollars. They could use literally anything else, but they don't, because the decocainized coca leaf is still part of the flavor. It's still in the secret formula, the one that's locked in a vault in Atlanta, the one that only 2 people in the company are said to know at any given time, the one that's never been fully reverse engineered, despite everyone trying. The coca leaf isn't just history, it's still in the can. Coca-Cola is one of the most recognizable things on earth. It's in almost every country. It's been drunk by billions of people. It's on Christmas ads, it's in hospitals, it's at kids' birthday parties, and yet it's invented by a morphine addict trying to cure himself. It was built on cocaine. It survived by hiring lawyers smart enough to carve out a loophole in federal drug law, and that loophole, that quiet, strange, completely legal arrangement, is still running today in a factory in New Jersey that most people have never even heard of.